With the Men's Volleyball Nations League just around the corner, national teams have been playing friendly matches. And some are even taking part in full tournaments. One of those tournaments just wrapped up in Poland. The Silesia Cup featured not only the host team, but also Germany, Ukraine and Bulgaria. All these teams were testing their nearly full-strength squads, while Gegerbich was exploring the potential of his bench players and the next generation of young stars. Germany came out on top, Ukraine finished second, Bulgaria placed third, and the hosts had to settle for fourth. But I'm not here to give you a breakdown of the tournament results. What caught my eye was one particular Bulgarian setter. You probably already guessed who I'm talking about. Yep, we're diving into the game of Simeon Nikolov, NCAA record holder and new signing for Lokomotiv Novosibirsk. I've been patiently waiting for this insanely gifted teenager to return to the pro level, just to see what he's picked up after a season in the US College League. I get that it's too early to draw any big conclusions, but I was dying to get at least some answers. So in this video, I'm just comparing my analysis from 6 months ago with what I've seen now, trying to figure out which areas of his game have developed. Drop a like and subscribe and let's get into it. Let's start with his attacking game. Knowing how much initiative he took in the NCAA, I was curious to see how he'd handle things on the national team stage. The only match Bulgaria managed to win was against Germany. And funny enough, that was Germany's only loss in the tournament. And in that match, Nikolov was super effective offensively, clean, sneaky dumps into open zones. There weren't many, so it wasn't overused, just well executed. But then came the match against Poland, and something switched. It was like he activated Berserker mode and started forcing things. After one successful attack, he went for 2 dumps in a row, both of which cost him points. I think that was partly triggered by Blengini, who threw in an interesting twist. Instead of doing a full double sub with the setter, he just swapped out the opposite, leaving Simeon to attack, even from the back row. Sometimes his brother Alex would take over that role. It'll be interesting to see if Bulgaria's coach dares to pull that move in official matches. After that overly aggressive but not very successful outing against Poland, Simeon toned it down in the final match against Ukraine. If he sticks to the mindset he showed against Germany, he could be a real headache for opposing blockers and defenders. It may not be as flashy, but I'm sure Simeon wants to be a top-tier setter, not just a highlight reel machine. Alright, let's move on to his main job, setting his hitters. What did we learn from the Silesia Cup in this regard? Right now, there's one clear challenge that comes with having someone like Nikolov as your setter. It's not about the quality of his setting, it's about his unique physical profile. Most hitters will need time to adjust to someone with his reach and height. If Loser struggled to get used to Gianelli, imagine what the Bulgarian middles are going through, trying to hit balls set from the elevation Simeon works at. It's not a bad thing, it just takes time. In fact, long term, this could be a huge plus in terms of speeding up the offense. That kind of setting will force opposing middles to stay committed longer, especially when Bulgaria and Lokomotiv are passing well. And remember, Simeon can also attack himself. In this tournament, the middle attack didn't click that well. Again, mostly because they're still figuring each other out. I'm confident that by the later weeks of the Nations League, this will improve. I really liked his decision-making. He often got his hitters into favorable matchups against the block. Sure, not every set was perfect, but there's a whole season ahead for him to build chemistry. There's probably still a lack of reliable scouting data on Nikolov at the international level. Even during this tournament, you could see him adjusting his game to stay unpredictable. For example, he started using his middles more often against Ukraine. Let's see what week 3 of the VNL brings. That'll give us a better idea of his progress. He already seems pretty comfortable with the opposites, well, with one of them, Venislav Antov. I don't think he had any real game time with Dimitrov. It was clear they were still syncing up. Simeon working out the ideal width of the set, and Antov figuring out his approach. The cool thing is, what used to be the weakest part of Simeon's game last season is now looking like one of his trademarks. Let's keep an eye on that development. but there's still a big issue he hasn't solved: setting after poor passes. Obviously, that'll improve with more reps and experience, but for now it's definitely a weakness. What really surprised me, in a negative way, was how much he struggled to set to the left side. To me, the most critical factor in high-level setter-outside hitter connection is consistent tempo. You can deal with some imprecision in location, but when your approach tempo is constantly shifting, that's a problem. It's harder to swing at peak height, the contact point becomes more predictable for blockers, and so on. Also, he kept tightening his sets to the left the longer the match went on. I don't think it was fatigue, but it's tough to say. As a result, the left side hitters rarely attacked down the line, and opponents picked up on that fast. Did Simeon give them sets they could go line with? Yes, he did. But here's the nuance: the hitters kept creeping in to get under the ball better. And just as they take that step in, boom, the next set would drift wide toward the antenna, making it really hard to score. That kind of inconsistency is a real issue. He only ran back rope pipe attacks with his brother, and even those were hit or miss. Although against Ukraine they looked a bit sharper. Again, the height factor makes it tricky. Not every hitter is ready for a short set from someone that tall. Bottom line, Nikolov is still a raw gem, but one that's definitely going to shine brighter very soon. On the block though, wow, he's made a huge leap. He's no longer just jumping high and showing his hands early. Now he's adjusting his hand position mid-air, and with his wingspan he can afford to do that without hurting the block. So the hitter can't read him until the last second. Simeon is already starting to recognize when opponents are trying to wipe off his hands on purpose. Opposing setters are aware of this. They avoid overloading attacks when Nikolov in front, and even when they go for it, the hitters usually stick to their go-to directions just to avoid getting stuffed. I'd bet we'll see Nikolov high on the VNL block leaderboards this season. And thanks to his size, he often helps his middles out when the opposing team tries to attack through the middle. After his record-breaking NCAA season, I really wanted to see how his serve looked with a different ball and under different conditions. Serving's a delicate art, and we'll get a better picture as the VNL goes on. But even now, it already looks like a serious weapon, and he's not even in peak form yet. He consistently disrupted opponent passing, and he scored from the line in every match. His short serve especially looks deadly. With his high contact point, he has a crazy wide range of directions. Nightmare stuff for passers. If we're nitpicking though, over these 3 matches, he struggled with the sharp cross-court angle. He missed that spot a lot, which made it easier for passers to focus on the more predictable zones. That took away from the overall threat of his serve. Funny enough, in my previous breakdown, I mentioned how much he loved serving to zone 1. Last but not least, let's talk defense. I didn't see much improvement there. Same low hand position, low mobility, and not the quickest reactions. Not many digs overall. And in modern volleyball, a top-level setter has to be a factor on defense too. So that's my quick breakdown of Simeon Nikolov's performance at the Silesia Cup in Poland. If you want to know more about his background and development trends, check out my earlier video, links in the description. Let me know what you thought about this breakdown. If you liked it, smash that like button. That kind of support means the world. And hit that subscribe, I see you lurking in stealth mode. As always, this was Nick. Love what you do and you're gonna crush it. See you soon, bye!